Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I forgot about this, and I started off with Trump, and there's some incredible three great things that happen on MSNBC that I couldn't wait to get to. But let me start here. I'm going to put this ahead of the other things I already did. And there's a great meme coming from the left of JoJo Magoo. They're embracing the Let's Go Brandon thing. That's hilarious. So lots of great stuff today. But let me start off here. Britney Spears and Elton John drop Hold Me Closer duet. Listen now. Pop star Britney Spears made a triumphant return to music this week after a 6-year hiatus with an assist from singer Elton John with their Hold Me Closer. Now, I've sort of scanned through this. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet because it's horrible. It's a rendition of the Tiny Dancer song by Elton John, and it's so, well, I'll play a little bit for you, but it's so auto-tuned, and there's no substance to it. It's like they stripped away all the other parts of the Tiny Dancer song with Elton John mispronouncing words, right? And I didn't even hear any vocal. I couldn't even hear Britney Spears on this thing. But it goes along with her Rose theme, right? It's got a rocket that runs on roses. Look at it. It takes roses. And this is totally in Britney Spears' wheelhouse with her Project Rose that she was doing. I'm in the editing process, and I can see I need to correct myself. It doesn't run on roses. It poops out roses. It's pooping out roses as it, it's like it's propelled by rose poop. like an octopus poops out water to propel itself forward. Plus, she's coming back and releasing a song. And it's the best time for her to delete her Instagram account, right? And look at this thing go. Like, here it is, just pooping out roses and streaming across the sky here, pooping out roses, right? It's so Britney. Britney Spears is also that tiny dancer, that the wonderful dance she does. So then it goes up into the sky, and I think this is Britney's, this is her vocals here, and it's just... I think that's it. I think that's what she sang. That was her. Heavily auto-tuned, kind of indecipherable and unintelligible, the lyrics. But she's got this cool rose rocket. And every once in a while you pass a stem rose. You just can't make heads or tails of this. You can't even tell it's Britney. So heavily auto-tuned. I think they were singing together. I don't even know. There's a big rose there. I mean, how can you even call this music? Like, it's just a fraction of that old song that he sang years ago. Is this Britney or Elton or both? It's horrible. So this, I believe, is Elton John. I mean, like, anybody could have done this. Like, it's just so heavily auto-tuned. They didn't need to make anything like, they could just had somebody fabricate this on the internet. There was Britney. We had a Britney sighting. That's towards the end here. Okay, thankfully this came to the end. There's another rose, and they're out in space here. Hold Me Closer, Elton John and Britney J. Spears. All right, let's get to the big stuff. That's a little appetizer, but let's get to the Donald and the JoJo Magoo stuff. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Imposter. They got a lot of the Donald stuff to get to. Ukrainian woman posed as Rothschild family member to infiltrate Mar-a-Lago. She posed as a Rothschild, and Trump couldn't wait to take a picture with her, right? Ukrainian woman posing as a member of the Rothschilds banking family has been outed as a fraud after she allegedly infiltrated former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. She's 33. Lied to the ritzy resort members that she was an heiress to the reputed family's mass fortune and the Rothschilds, according to a probe by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. She appeared at numerous Mar-a-Lago functions, mingling with the likes of Trump, Lindsey Graham, and other people. And so here they are all together. They couldn't wait to cozy up to a Rothschilds. But this is the one I most am looking forward to covering. There's a bunch of videos from MSNBC. I got to get to all of them and a few more headlines. But this one, it starts off here.
Some bad things came out today. You know, those classified. You know the word classified. She sent vast amounts of classified information, including information classified as top secret.
No way.
They said that she was extremely careless and, frankly, I say grossly incompetent. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand
Kaboom.
the meaning of the word confidential or classified. And maybe
6 years after Trump repeatedly ridiculed Hillary Clinton over her private email server, today's
It's got some serious chompers there. Some they live type of chompers. But the hypocrisy works both ways. Sure, you got Trump in your little, whatever this thing is, compilation. And so, sure, Trump is being hypocritical here. But the other piece to this is Trump is definitely being treated differently than Hillary and other presidents who took classified documents home with them. All of them. All these presidents that did this and other people. Like Trump is definitely being treated differently, right? And again, I talked about how this is a show and, whatever it is, right? But these, people get into it. They get into their roles and they get into the competition of it. But clearly there is hypocrisy from Trump, which I can cover because I'm not invested in the hero worship and whatever it is that goes on with other people who are, still part of the right-left paradigm. But also, what about the different ways Trump was treated here than Hillary was, right? Like both things are true. They're both hypocrites. They're both, both the right and the left. But this isn't why I'm covering this. This gets really a lot better here.
His affidavit revealed the disgraced former president took nearly
disgraced former president. He's disgraced, according to this very objective journalist.
200 classified documents with him when he left office. Dozens were labeled top secret.
Another thing that I didn't cover yesterday, anything that they drop on Friday is called a document drop, a document dump, where they don't want you to they don't want it to be covered that much in the news. If they do it on Friday, they're dumping it, hoping by Monday something else has happened, maybe something that they put on themselves that will distract people from the dump of documents. And so, again, this looks good for Trump in the show, because if they did in the beginning of the week on Monday, they would have had something on him. But they do it on Friday, it's because their case is weak and they want you to move on, right? And it's still not the reason I'm covering this here.
And contained highly sensitive information and were kept in various rooms at the Palm Beach residence. We're happy to welcome back celebrated author and presidential historian Michael Beschloss.
Presidential historian, this guy, I used to see him on PBS. He's got, a Maria Shriver type of forehead, right? If you saw my other channel video. He's what Star Trek episode were you in? And he says something so bad here. Like, I just am stunned. YouTube recommended this thing to me, and I'm grateful they did.
His latest work in a bookshelf full of works is Presidents of War. Michael, typically, when you join us, we try to find historical comparisons to our current political moment. But as you tweeted today, and we all took notice, there is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
You've never, ever seen anything close to this from any president or ex-president in American history. Michael Beschloss.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Lovely to be with you as always, Alicia. Here's a case where an ex-president of the United States was told numerous times by the National Archives, and shouldn't have needed to be told, you're in danger of being prosecuted for breaking the Presidential Records Act of 1978
They told him that.
and other laws against an ex-president taking and storing classified documents.
No way. What he did was wrong. Like, you can't have classified documents, right? Everyone should know that. And he did it anyway. But, that is neither here nor there. Because it's something that we already know has been done by as recent as Hillary Clinton's scandal and all the things that she was engaged in. And for them to pretend that Trump is, well, this is where it gets, this isn't even, let's get to the meat of this thing.
And yet, why did he do this? We still don't know.
We don't know why he did
this. Did he
this.
share the information from these classified documents with someone who shouldn't have it?
Would he do that? Did he do that?
Foreign governments, terrorists, someone else?
Did he do that? Did he give it to those people?
And, and the other thing is, we have to ask the question, did he get cash?
Did he get some cash? Because the guy's hurting for cash. Did he get any?
Did he get favors for sharing that information?
And cash?
We do not know.
We don't know any of that.
You were talking about history, Alicia. Think of Dwight Eisenhower as a general.
Dwight Eisenhower is a general, right? Let's talk about history. Alicia brought it up. Alicia brought it up. Look at this reptilian MFer.
1944, planning D-Day, whose success depended on hitting the Germans by surprise, where the Allies would land, and what the plan of attack was.
D-Day, Eisenhower, he needs secrecy.
If someone had left out one piece of paper, that could have doomed tens of thousands of Allied soldiers and sailors to their deaths.
Boom. Just that if Trump had been president, we would have lost World War II. Like, that's definitely, this presidential historian knows. But here comes this MNFer, just delivers something priceless. I've been waiting all day to talk about it.
The next year, Harry Truman was president. He had an atomic bomb, which...
What? Wait, where are you going with this, MNFer?
Americans did not know, more than one. And he was thinking about using it against Japan. That depended on surprise.
What are you saying here, MNFer?
What if Truman or someone in his entourage had sloppily left a piece of paper out that got to the Japanese or some other country that wished us ill?
Exactly. I see where he's going with this. If Trump had been president instead of Truman, if Trump was president back then, and he leaked some of this information, the United States military wouldn't have been able to drop atomic bombs on Japanese cities and melt people. Let's let him hang himself a little bit more here.
And undercut the ability that Truman had to end World War II.
By doing what? By dropping bombs, atomic bombs on people, which everyone knows was a mistake, right? This horrific act. If you ever see the pictures of what happened, people were disappeared and only their shadows remained. Their shadows were blasted onto walls. There was their shadows were on these different walls and things. I mean, it's a horrific act. And again, if Trump had been president, America wouldn't be able to commit this horrific act because the Japanese would have employed their anti-atomic bomb devices that don't even exist now, right? They couldn't have stopped it, right? And so this guy, this MNF who's trying to tell you how bad Trump is, how historically bad Trump is, and he's comparing it to how if Trump had been president back then, he wasn't a secret keeper like Truman or Eisenhower, we couldn't have dropped bombs on Japan, atomic bombs on Japan. Listen to this person with zero moral compass, and this is how he's trying to make his case. I mean, absolute tool. I was stunned that this was his example. What a horrible human being. And he's supposed to be a presidential historian, one of these hoity-toity PBS types, right?
This is what is at stake. Why did Donald Trump do this?
Exactly. We won't be able to drop any more nuclear bombs now because of Trump's.
As you all Well, no, that's not just what's at stake, because that is as it relates to our national security. But there's also this piece about what it means for America's role on the world stage. I mean, as other countries are watching this unfold.
Yeah, that's why you don't have a scandal like this where, look at those things, man. Like some kind of is it Shark Week?
Is the damage that has been done irrevocable?
Nothing is ever irrevocable, I think.
Oh, no, but this Trump isn't. That's why the FBI wouldn't embarrass a former president this way, because, it embarrasses the democratic process. It embarrasses the office. It embarrasses everything, right? And them doing this, and it helps Trump. And so they did a document drop or dump on Friday, so they don't have anything. And they roll out this frickin' alien dinosaur.
But what friendly intelligence service would cooperate with us today in the same way that they might have 10 or 20 years ago?
Exactly. Especially when you're going to want to drop nuclear atomic bombs on people. Okay, so I quickly want to restate this. I'm in the editing process. I got this huge Jojo Magoo, Let's Go Brandon liberal thing that's hilariously bad. They're just so clueless. They've lost their minds. And again, I'm not a right-wing person, but the liberals, and the right wing sucks and has always sucked. But now the liberals are so unhinged. And the whole thing, I don't even want to call them liberals, whatever this is, right? And I got this, a famous guy that's many of you guys know and love, making a reappearance. So a lot of things to come. But just to say this quickly, this guy is trying to compare Trump negatively to Truman, who dropped atomic bombs on innocent civilians on a country, which is unforgivable. I mean, it's demonic energy. That's according to, one of the masters of the heartfulness system that I do. I mean, it's, there's nothing worse than nuclear bombs in terms of weapons, in terms of all of it. And America dropping bombs on Japan was an act of evil. Jojo Magoo droning children, and Obama droning children, and both Bushes starting those illegal wars that killed millions was all evil. It's all evil, right? Now, it kept our country going. It kept our economy going, so we're all tied to it. So I'm not, all judgmental about it, but it's evil. Let's call it what it is. It's evil. And we all got to participate in it because otherwise our economy would have collapsed, right? But in all that, Trump didn't do anything with the military. When Trump was running for president, he talked like, how he'd be totally willing to use nukes. Remember? I mean, he was, running his flim-flam man mouth. But he turned out to be, somewhat compassionate and soft-hearted and didn't seem to want to get involved in any of these abusive wars. And he stopped all those wars that, Obama had all those Arab Spring wars and the wars under George W. Bush. He stopped all that stuff. Trump didn't order any of these things. As far as I know, he didn't drone any kids or any of it, right? Which would make him, in my mind, superior to any of these other presidents. But this presidential historian, this PBS hoity-toity, reptilian fool, comes in there and says, if Trump was president, we wouldn't have been able to drop those bombs on those innocent people. That's his moral compass. That's what these guys, that's their ability to critical think and use logic on a document drop that obviously didn't have any slam dunks against Trump, or they would have rolled it out on Monday instead of Friday, right? And so that's Michael Beschloss. So some of my viewers sent me this last night because there's a star about to reemerge here.
Important to strictly enforce.
So here he is again, Michael Beschloss, but he's not the star of this particular.
It does not seem possible for it to be coincidental.
Boom! There he is, Dick Painter, when Richard P. Painter. Here he is. He's back again. You remember him from his epic film, The Dumpster Fire.
Some people see a dumpster fire and do nothing but watch the spectacle. Some are too scared to face the danger, or they think it will benefit them if they just let it keep on burning. Others shrug and say, oh, all this talk of a dumpster fire, it's just fake news. there is an inferno raging in Washington. But here in the land of 10,000 lakes, we know how to put out a fire.
I am Richard Painter, and I approve of this message.
Doesn't sound coincidental to me. It sounds intentional. And I will
It does sound to me. Sometimes intentional must be to beat it. I'll either. Well, no.
tell you exactly what I told the White House staff when I was the chief ethics lawyer in 2005.
When I was a chief ethics lawyer, and I was a party animal, and everybody in the office loved me because I was such a party animal, and everyone liked my effervescent personality.
About preservation of government records. It is a felony under 1896.
It's a felony. You take any of the documents, it's a felony. You can't do that to a felony. But they still loved me over there, even though I was given the bad news.
It's code section 2071 to engage in concealment, removal, or mutilation of any government record.
Exactly. That's what I said. Don't mutilate the government records. Don't mutilate the government records. Dumpster file.
That is a felony.
It's a felony of all tops.
And every White House instructs its staff, as well as the agencies, that when you leave the government, the only messages or other communications that you can remove from the premises or destroy are your personal communications about your personal business, not the response to January.
He's exhibiting some alien noises. Some alien noises. Look at these guys. How could they not be cracking up and going like, where'd you get this guy?
6/2021 or any other official document. This is a felony under numerous statutes. I heard rumors that there was going to be destruction of government documents during the Trump administration. At the end of the administration in November 2020, within days of the election. And
within days of the election, I knew this was going to happen.
Wrote an op-ed for the blog Just Security, outlining all of the statutes, letting people know that if you destroy those documents, government records, including text, you will go to jail.
You'll go to jail, and you will go to jail now.
And now we have also obstruction of justice, because once January 6, 2021 happened, we know that there were criminal investigations of who incited this riot. And so not only do we have destruction of government documents, but obstruction of justice in not one, but three government agencies. And
three, not one, not two, dumpster fire 3.
I strongly suspect that the orders for the destruction of this evidence came from the White House and perhaps from the President of the United States himself.
Kabloomy. The President of the United States himself. You got one final word from him at the end. It's great watching his face. Let's do that a little bit. I'll mute it. And watch when other people are talking. You got to watch his face. Like, it's got some blinking going on. He just nothing happens to him, right? Are you dead? Like, is he like one of those, like, sort of Chuck E. Cheese animated robots that they turn off? Like he's what you doing, Dick Painter? There we go. He looked to the side and they went off to this guy. But then he has some closing remarks here.
He actually shows up.
Richard Painter, I mean, what do you make of the ethics of his need to be subpoenaed in order to turn over information about an insurrection against our country?
Well, it is abundantly clear that the White House counsel has no privilege with the president that can't be waived by the Justice Department. We went through that with President Clinton.
Went through this with President Clinton.
So there's no attorney-client privilege here that can be kept.
What happened with President Clinton? What did he do?
Secret from a grand jury. And there's an obligation here for him to testify, for the White House counsel to testify truthfully about what happened. And I believe...
Not another what happened? What happened? Like he just had that glitch out. See if we can catch that. He's from Minnesota.
House counsel to testify truthfully about what happened. And I believe he will. He repeatedly advised President Trump not to engage in insurrection.
All right, so that's Richard Painter. So on the weekend, which I already discussed, is when nobody watches the news, and that's when you'll find Peter Velshi. We already know when Brian Stelsa lost his show on CNN, there's nobody who watches weekend news. And so this is something where there's maybe 50,000 people watching this. Most of those people are in the senior citizen category. It has no real effect on anything that's going to play out in the future. It's like totally impotent news. It isn't going to move the dial at all. No butterfly effect. Like absolutely nothing that's going to be said here is going to affect anything that's going to happen in the future.
Barbara, I don't know how many days and nights this team has spent thinking about these things and ways in which the former president may have had transgressions of the law or at least of norms.
I think it's pretty much 100% of your time.
But there is stuff in this.
I think when you're doing anything, when you're sleeping, you're eating, you're having sex, you're drunk, you're whatever, you're thinking about how President Trump broke the law, right? I think this is your number one preoccupation.
Redacted affidavit that is about lives, that is about danger, that is about national security. We're past the point of this was carelessness or this was bad record keeping.
That's why you're talking about it and not the other shills that work on the good jobs during the week. That's why we're watching this on Saturday morning, because they did a document dump, because obviously it has so much incriminating evidence against Trump. They had to dump it to protect him, because they're all about protecting Trump, right? Like it's just so ridiculous. The fact you guys who have never seen any of these three people before are talking about it means that it has nothing in it.
There's something in here that has led people to believe that this could actually be the thing that Donald Trump is prosecuted for.
Really? You're going to float that out there like the Great Pumpkin? Right? You're not going to prosecute him because you need him. He goes to jail. You can't talk about him anymore. You lose whatever is left of your dying audience.
Yeah, I think there are some things that are disclosed in this affidavit that makes me agree with you that it's more likely today than it was before that there would be a prosecution. One of the things we now know is that as far back as May of 2021, the National Archives was involved in a dialogue with Donald Trump to get these documents back. So he's been on notice for all that time that he had documents that didn't belong to him, that
he's been on notice,
were classified, that contained national defense information that was lying around Mar-a-Lago. We learned today also that they found these documents not just in the storage room, but in something called the residential suite.
No way.
Something called the 45 office.
No way.
Something called the Pine Room. I mean,
the Pine Room? No way you left him in the Pine Room. That's just unbelievable carelessness. I understand the 45 office.
What is that? The place where people have a drink after they play golf? I don't know. But
she doesn't know. It could be anywhere. It's maybe where a bunch of foreign dignitaries and leaders and terrorists stay, and they could just comb through those documents while they're staying at the Mar-a-Lago visiting Trump's.
It's beyond careless, reckless. And we also learn the nature of these secrets. It includes signals intelligence, human intelligence. That's the stuff where we've got assets in foreign countries being managed by case officers of the CIA.
No way. It's just it's brutal. I never heard such as an outrage.
FISA material, that's information that is collected that by definition includes counterintelligence information and terrorism information.
No way. He's all that information. Those real threats that are really threatening us, there'll be information about that.
These are some really, really sensitive documents.
Egregious. I would just go out there and use the word egregious.
They're lying around all over the place at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump is on notice for more than a year that he has these things and needs to return them.
And he just doesn't do it.
I can't see how he evades criminal charges unless there's something in those redactions that is exonerating.
Jill Wine-Banks.
Jill Wine-Banks. Come on, Wine-Bags. Give it up. What do you got? I know Wine-Bags always delivers.
You have watched everything that Donald Trump has done in his presidency, but you also watched something that a different president did, and there's a Watergate.
I mean, if you're going to be named Wine-Bags, you got to be named Jill.
To this, in that the bumblingness of it, the intermixing of documents with I don't know what hankies and
he's a mastermind criminal that can plan a coup, and also he's a bumbling idiot. He's both things. Like he's a supervillain and he's also Don Knotts. He's just a complete paradox. Weinbags will get to the bottom of it.
Underwear and other things. It makes it seem like it's not as serious as it is. But what Barbara just said is that there is stuff in here that had no business being in the president's house, and it's been there for 18 months. We have no idea what those NDIs, what that information about human intelligence, what those FISA documents, who's seen them, where they might have been, who might have photocopied them. We just don't know.
We don't know. Maybe everyone has it. Maybe I have a copy. I don't even know I have a copy. Maybe Weinberg says, what about Weinbergs?
Seems dumb, but this might be the most serious thing yet.
This is very serious. And I say that not just as the Watergate prosecutor, but as the former general counsel of the Army, familiar very much with human intelligence, signal.
Let's get your resume out there, Weinbergs. She's got a little chastity belt up here for some reason.
Intelligence and national security. And this is stuff that was, some of it was in the hallway.
Jill Wine-Banks. Oh, I did miss Wine-Banks. She's look at Wine-Banks. She's got her tchotchkes. Got some Mahabharata thing up there. Got that dude. Look at Wine-Banks has got everything going on here.
Going to the public pool. Anybody could have gone past it. It wasn't locked up appropriately. And besides the national security implications, all of this belongs to the American people, to the
exactly. And what better place to not have it than at Mar-a-Lago?
National Archives. Even the things that are just presidential records that aren't classified should not be at Mar-a-Lago. They are not.
It's the worst place. Look at this place.
Not Donald Trump's documents. They are the people's documents.
It's for the people, not Trump's.
They are there for history to study. And so it's really a shame that he has those. And one of these laws would
listen to Weinbanks.
Bar him from ever running for office should he be convicted of that particular offense. But all of them are very serious offenses, and all of them put at risk our national security. And he knew he had them, as you pointed out. He's known for a long time.
He's known. Weinbanks just cuts through it. Just gets to the bottom. Look at this guy giving Weinbanks a salute over here. What's up with this clown?
National Archives has been saying, please return our documents. You have classified documents. They removed classified documents. They removed 15 cartons of them.
No way, Weinbanks. Tell me it isn't so.
And now they just took away 25 cartons more.
There's just cartons of documents thrown about the place.
After he said, well, there's nothing left. I've given you everything. That wasn't true.
No, not true. Weinbanks knows. Weinbanks can read.
They obviously got recent information from someone that caused them to be alarmed and to go in there.
It's lost on no one that Jill's pin tonight is a padlock. Mark.
Exactly. Bring in the humor. Look at Velshi. Look at this guy. This guy never laughs.
Mark, let's talk about some of these things, because there's a general view amongst people in intelligence and political critics of the intelligence operations in the United States that stuff is overclassified. And there's some argument that at lower levels of stuff that's otherwise exists in the public domain, someone would have testified about it in Congress, but these documents remain classified, and sometimes they don't get unclassified in enough time for people and researchers and journalists to get access to them. That's not what we're talking about in some of these cases.
No, they're not. Weinbanks just, cut to the basis of it. We know it's pretty serious.
There are markings on some of these things that were taken from Mar-a-Lago that I am unfamiliar with, and I was not familiar with until today. They are at a high level.
Now you're pretty much an expert.
Of intelligence that does possibly lead to exposure of people like intelligence gatherers, spies, people who work in other countries.
Yeah, like when Dick Cheney ratted out Valerie Plame and they didn't even get investigated for it, right? I mean, when that happened, that started a war where 1 million people, innocent Iraqi people, died. Remember that? Weinbanks, were you there, Weinbanks? Looked like you were there like World War I, but who knows?
No, exactly. So I have spent 30 years challenging the classification system of the U.S. government.
He's got it right here, JFK. He's a conspiracy theorist, this guy.
To declassify information, because even the most senior government officials will testify before.
This is Mark Zadd. Zadd and Weinbanks.
Congress, that probably up to 50% of information is overclassified. But I also represent some of the most covert operatives who work for our government.
This guy's a lawyer, and he's getting it done. He's in the know. There he is with his gal pal. There he is with the JFK, A Few Good Men. And he's got Grisham. He's got all the titles right here.
Both assets, foreign assets who work overseas, and also our people who, if they were caught in their foreign countries, could be executed.
Boom. Executed.
And what
are they telling people that you can read with your feet? Or they can't read with their feet? Because that's apparently an executable offense.
This affidavit showed us in particular, we knew about, SCI information, sensitive compartmented information.
Okay, I got enough of this. But this guy, Velshi, has the cojones to... let me just show... I got a bunch of promos I want to show you from MSNBC there.
My work is to facilitate a dialogue. All of us are better off when we're around people with different perspectives. And the only way we speak truth to power is by understanding all sides of an argument.
Who gets up at 8 a.m. and watches this guy? And those people. Weinbakes and Velshi. Did you hear what he just said, though? Understanding everyone else's point of view. So I was watching MSNBC this morning. I was eating lunch or whatever it was. I have my YouTube TV set at CNN. And so when I watch DirecTV, I can come in, and if I see something on CNN, I can just come in. It's already on that, and I can get it. But MSNBC, I have to record things, and if I am not recording, I miss it. So there was this great promo from Morning Joe, which I did end up finding on YouTube. But it took me a while, and I usually don't have to work that hard. But while I was looking for it, I found this promo, which is so great. Because you just saw there's only one point of view on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. They don't have the oppositional point of view, and they don't clearly understand or verbalize or articulate the other point of view. And when they do, they say, oh, you're just crazy. And that's just right and left. But within the truth community, they don't understand any of our points of view. And we have quite a diverse point of view. We don't all agree on things, and so we're very opinionated. So that's, multiple points of view, and he understands one, and that's of the controllers and the Democrats and the liberals and the corporations, and then to pretend that, they don't legitimize any other point of view. And so for his promo to pretend that's the case, right? I mean, they're just such blatant liars. But what was worse than that was this.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Well, my family's not going to watch this, but I certainly am. I'm going to record this because it looks pretty promising. More lies and deception and twisted incompetence from MSNBC. But this time it's for kids. And then there's the Morning Joe thing here.
When you need brutal honesty.
It's nothing but tribalism and this personality cult.
That brutal honesty? You go to Morning Joe for brutal honesty?
You need answers first thing in the morning.
How do you think it would address the problem of police accountability?
That's his answer. We need some answers from Mika. Mika, give us the answers.
We need to go deep inside Washington.
The numbers are numbing. How are we
The numbers are numbing.
paying for all this, and what are the implications down the road?
And here,
who knows?
From someone who's been there.
In 2021, we are moving into a new political chapter in American history.
He's been there before.
You need your Morning Joe.
You need your Morning Joe. Because that's where you go for brutal honesty. Because there's nothing more brutally honest than talking smack about Trump. Right? Crapping on Trump, that's brutal honesty. Right? For all the people that would watch Morning Joe, when they hear Trump being maligned once again, that is brutal honesty. Okay, so I don't know where I'm going to put this in the video, but I'm grabbing it while it's still up. Dark Brandon comes out swinging. This is on the front page of Huffington Post. He's got laser eyes. And he's got some kind of fire thing going on there. Well, here it is even bigger. Joe Biden goes dark, Brandon comes out fighting. The president has been on the run of major policy achievements and seems to be enjoying it. On Thursday night, the spiciest thing on the internet, at least in political circles, was Joe Biden. You read that right. Joe, period. Biden, period. With its Twitter account, the White House went after Republican lawmakers criticizing the president for his decision to forgive student loans, loan debt, pointing out with brutal precision the times they too had government loans forgiven. Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene had 183,000 PP loans forgiven. There was another article I didn't get to yesterday about this. It also played into a Dark Brandon meme, a new meme beloved by Democrats on social media. Dark Brandon has the password to the White House Twitter account, tweeted Dan Pelfer. This is, over the past month or so, liberals have invented conservative, derogatory Let's Go Brandon chant to invent a type of Brandon fan fiction where the oldest president in history is a badass superhero spiting Republicans and passing legislation for the greater good. So they have this thing called Dark Brandon that is somehow them thinking that they're look, he's sitting on the Game of Thrones, right? This senile MNFer who poops himself, and they've created this meme of Dark Brandon, which means F Joe Biden, right? Like, this is how bad the liberals suck at this, right? This is... There's no Joe Biden fans. I mean, the guy's a complete ass clown before he went senile. Look at this thing. They made him into a demon. Right? And so I grabbed this morning. That's one of the first things I saw because I thought it was going to go away from the front page of Huffington Post. And they're celebrating this guy when everyone knows he's a incompetent putz, right? And, you know, all this talk about putting Trump in jail. Without Trump, you'd have nothing to compare Biden to. Nothing negative, nothing horrific, right? I mean, it's the whole thing. I just think about all the things I just showed you. So there's an update on Brittany. One of my viewers just said, you know, when I saw the article this morning, they featured one of her, like, naked photos where she's putting her, you know, her hands over her breast, but otherwise she's naked. And I'm like, what? She's back on Instagram. But then I looked at Instagram, she wasn't there. And so I was like, oh, and then they, you know, later on when I went to make the story, and the photo disappeared and her account on Instagram was still, is still deleted. And so I said, that was weird, but I didn't, you know, think about it. But then someone told me that she's moved her naked show over to Twitter. And so I guess that's her way of promoting her new horrible single, right? But in some ways, Britney's saner than the media. Like, she does a lot of things that it's hard to make sense of, but at least you can make sense of them. But these guys just blatantly lie about everything. Their whole worldview is off. They think they're the heroes. They think Joe Biden's a hero, just based in that they aren't Trump. If you aren't Trump and you're against Trump, you're a hero. You're fighting against the most evil force in the universe. He's a putz, but also a supervillain. I mean, come on. You know, it's just... the guy didn't do any of those things. I mean, when a liberal blogger comes out and says if Hunter Biden had dead skeletons of kids in his basement, it'd still be not as bad as Trump University. Like, and they've just warped so much, right? They're just so pathetic. I mean, CNN and MSNBC, because Fox sucks, but CNN and MSC have taken, the artistry of sucking to a new level. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.